approached to attack them. He didn't see a rope that was on his knees, and it was already too late when he realized it. All of a sudden, Fang Xing was hit by something on his cheek, and with an instant, blood came out from the slash. Fang Xing grits his teeth and he realizes that he was the one that got careless. He told himself that it was such an obvious trap, and yet he didn't realize. Instantaneously, Hu King came out of nowhere. Then he ordered Liu San and Qian Tong to block Fang Xing's escape, and he will finish Fang Xing off. Instantly, Liu San and Qian Tong followed the order of their young master. However, Qian Tong told Hu King that he was right. Fang Xing really came looking for death. Hu King automatically used his flying blue swords to execute Fang Xing. However, at the back of Fang Xing's mind, if he flees that moment, he will be pinned down by 3 people, so the only way out now is through the front. Because if he just runs away, even Hu King should not be able to catch up with him. Immediately, Fang Xing ran quickly in front of Hu King. But Hu King uses his flying swords to catch and execute Fang Xing. Luckily, Fang Xing managed to dodge Hu King's attack. At this moment, Fang Xing is approaching to attack Hu King using his knife. But unfortunately, his knife has been broken by Hu King. Fang Xing was struggling at this moment, and he realized that the power of Hu King was stronger than him. Fang Xing crashed on the ground because of Hu King's attack. While Hu King was surrounded by flying blue swords, he told Fang Xing that it seems Fang Xing also lied about his cultivation level. Then Hu King figured out that Fang Xing should be at the peak of the 2nd level of spirit movement at that time. In addition to Hu King, he stated that Fang Xing was already at that level of cultivation at such a young age, plus his shrewdness. If Fang Xing stays in the sect for a few more years, Hu King cannot imagine the level Fang Xing would reach. But unfortunately, according to Hu King, Fang Xing no longer has a chance. Hu King commanded Qian Tong to tie Fang Xing up, but not too tight since Fang Xing will become bait soon. Then Qian Tong instantly followed his young master. Nevertheless, according to Fang Xing, he didn't think that the difference between the peak of the 2nd level and the peak of the 3rd level would be that great. Fang Xing couldn't even fight back. Qian Tong was laughing at this moment while he told Fang Xing to not worry since Fang Xing will soon be a pile of meat. But Fang Xing has a plan. All of a sudden, Fang Xing took out his other knife, and he was approaching to attack Qian Tong. Nonetheless, Qian Tong was stunned by what he saw, and he cannot stop Fang Xing's attack. Qian Tong was suddenly stabbed in the throat by Fang Xing, and blood came out from his throat. Hu King and Liu San were shocked by what they saw. Then Fang Xing rashly ran away from Qian Tong. While Hu King was still stunned, he was confused where the hell did Fang Xing come from. However, Liu San told Qian Tong that he can still be saved since the wound is a few inches away from his vital point. Liu San also said that he will seal Qian Tong's arteries with spiritual Kai first. But Qian Tong told Hu King that Fang Xing was seriously injured, and now Fang Xing lost another arm. He also told them not to worry about him and go after Fang Xing. Nonetheless, Hu King was more careful at this moment, and he told them that they cannot chase Fang Xing because that kid was so crafty and ruthless, and they don't know when Fang Xing will use his tricks again. After that, Hu King told Qian Tong to relax because he will definitely catch Fang Xing, and he told him to take care of his injury first, then they will talk about it later. At the present time, Qian Tong was cold and he was groaning in pain. However, Hu King asked Liu San about the situation of Qian Tong. Instantaneously, Liu San told him that Qian Tong wasn't hit in his vitals and he had helped bandage him up already. Qian Tong's condition is currently stable, but, nevertheless, Liu San did not finish his words when Hu King figured it out. Fang Xing used Zhao Zhai's dagger to stab Qian Tong. According to Liu San, he took it out of Qian Tong's wound, and that dagger not only inflicts physical wounds but also seals spiritual energy acupoints. Hu King was puzzled at this moment. However, Liu San told him that he was right. Qian Tong won't be able to use spiritual energy for at least half a month. On the other hand, Qian Tong was very angry while cursing Fang Xing, and he said that he swore he will tear Fang Xing to pieces once he catches him. Nonetheless, Liu San told Hu King that they should return to the sect to make further preparations since they don't have a bait at that time, and Qian Tong got seriously injured also. But Hu King told him that they can't. Then he said that if they return to the sect now, they'll decide their seal edict is a failure and they won't get another chance. However, Liu San told Hu King that it would still be impossible to execute the python toad without bait. Hu King asked Liu San if he could track Fang Xing, but Liu San told him that there are too many beasts in the Yaokai Mountain, and their aura is chaotic. If Fang Xing chooses to escape or hide, it will be impossible for them to find him. Qian Tong also told his young master that it was fine because Fang Xing will definitely return to the sect later, so they'll have many opportunities to deal with him. Hu King suddenly thrust his sword into the ground, Then he asked Lue San if he was sure of what he said about it being impossible to find Fang Xing. With an instant, Lue San told him that he was sure. While Hu King was staring at him, he told Lue San that Hu King remembered the contract Lue San signed with the family stating that they have to cure his brother's lung tuberculosis. Lue San responded that Hu King was right. Then he thanked the family for providing medicine, and according to him, his brother is still in good condition, but tuberculosis is an incurable disease, so he can only live on medicine every day. Hu King turned back and he told Lue San that, if they fail the seal edict, the family will terminate Lue San's contract. Nevertheless, Lue San was shocked and angrily shouted at Hu King that he couldn't, since Hu King told him during the contract that Lue San will follow him into the sect and heed his orders. Hu King will continue to give Lue San's brother medicine. While Hu King was holding a sword, he said that it was true, and he told him that the reason they entered into a contract with Lue San in the first place was to complete the seal edict. If they fail, then Lue San will no longer have any value to the family. Additionally, the elders in the family won't allow valueless contacts to continue. And it's not just Lue San. Hu King told them that if they fail the seal edict, Hu King will also be forced to accept the family's arrangements against his will. All of a sudden, Hu King stabbed the leg of Qian Tong. Lue San was startled at this moment while Qian Tong was groaning in pain. Instantaneously, Lue San asked Hu King what he was doing. But Hu King told him that they needed bait, and Qian Tong is the only available bait right at that moment. Hu King weakened Qian Tong's left leg so he couldn't escape. Then Hu King ordered Lue San to tie Qian Tong up so that they will begin the hunt for the python toad tomorrow morning. While Qian Tong was moaning in pain, he called Hu King a bastard. Then he stated that how could Hu King be so cruel and do that to him since he was willing to be his slave, and in the end, that is what he gets in return. Lue San was still in shock when he asked Hu King if it wasn't that a bit. But he didn't finish his words when Hu King interrupted him and told him, if he still does not understand what they're facing. Lue San was speechless and sweating at the moment. However, Hu King told him that Lue San is also like him. They don't have any other choice. Lue San was gritting his teeth while saying, yes, young master. The next morning, while Hu King was still relaxing on a tree, Qian Tong was tied up and struggling. All of a sudden, Lue San called Fang Xing and he said that he knew that Fang Xing was there. Fang Xing suddenly came out and said, as expected of Senior Liu, how did you find out? Nonetheless, Lue San pointed his weapon into the wine bag that Fang Xing carried. At the same time, Lue San told Fang Xing that the wine bag is stained with some tracking powder he used as a hunter. So as long as Fang Xing is still in the Demon Miasma Mountain, Lue San can follow the smell to find Fang Xing. However, while Fang Xing was looking at him, he told Lue San that Fang Xing didn't understand why he didn't tell Hu King and came to find Fang Xing himself. Lue San suddenly pulled out a bag of spirit tools from his pocket, and he told Fang Xing that he alone was enough to catch the kid. Straight away, Lue San squeezed the spirit tool. Fang Xing was stunned at this moment. Nevertheless, Lue San's body was surrounded by red flames, and according to him, that was the spirit tool issued by the family. It can temporarily improve one's body function by taking the blood and flesh of the user. Senior brother Liu, you'd go so far as to do this in order to catch me, Fang Xing stated. However, Lue San told Fang Xing that Qian Tong is not a young child. He's not enticing enough as a bait to grab hold of the python toad's attention, and the task will likely fail. Lue San suddenly disappeared, and approaching to attack Fang Xing. But Fang Xing luckily managed to dodge the attack of Lue San. Then Fang Xing asked him if Lue San wanted to die for the success of the Talisman Edict. However, without a word, Lue San continued his attack on Fang Xing. But Fang Xing blocked his attack using his knife. As a result of blocking the attack from Lue San, Fang Xing was thrown to the ground. Then Lue San told him that he had his own reasons. At this moment, Fang Xing's right hand is completely paralyzed. Lue San continued his attack, while Fang Xing was carrying on dodging his attack. But when Fang Xing approached to do a counterattack by kicking Lue San, he was suddenly shocked because Lue San blocked his kick and held his foot. Then Lue San thrown Fang Xing very hard. That causes him to hit the tresses and vomit blood. Fang Xing was hurt at this moment, but all of a sudden, he said that it was his chance, so he prepared to use his power. While Lue San was puzzled, a flying sword was approaching to hit him, and Lue San didn't manage to dodge the flying flaming sword, so he was hit by it. However, Fang Xing was confused if he did it. Nonetheless, Lue San was surprised by the flying sword of Fang Xing. Then he asked him who exactly Fang Xing was. Lue San's right arm was badly hit by the flying sword of Fang Xing. According to Fang Xing, Liu San's right arm should not be able to move anymore. Then he told Liu San that they will stop fighting because Fang Xing didn't want to execute Liu San, and he told him to not stand in his way to execute Hu King. But Liu San just said sorry to Fang Xing, and he suddenly spits a concealed weapon towards Fang Xing. However, Fang Xing managed to do a counterattack. Liu San and Fang Xing were both shocked, while they were looking by whose power will prevail over them both. At this moment, while it is snowing, Liu San was remembering his past with his younger brother. Brother, Mum said you're going to work for the Hu family. The Hu family is so bad, forcibly occupying our village land and beating the village people. You're not going to do that when you're working for them, right? Stated by this little kid. However, Liu San told him on what did he know. The Hu family is indeed worse than scum, but they have a way to cure this little kid's disease. Then Liu San asked the kid if he didn't want to get better soon. In addition to Liu San, he told his younger brother that when he recovered, Liu San will teach him how to drink and hunt. Nonetheless, this little kid told him that of course he wants to get better soon, but he doesn't want Liu San to do bad things for his sake. Liu San was dazed at him, and they both laugh. Then Liu San asked his younger brother what he was thinking, since Liu San was just going to help the Hu family hunt some prey. Then he told the kid to relax and he won't do any bad things. The little kid looked at him and said, "Really?" Liu San was speechless at this moment. Then he changes the topic and he invites his younger brother to have a snowball fight since they haven't played for a long time, so Liu San wants to see if his younger brother improved. And the kid agreed with him, but he told him to better not go easy on him like last time. However, Liu San told him not to worry because he won't show mercy anymore. While Liu San was enjoying the game, he told the kid that it was not bad for him since he learned how to do a sneak attack. Both of them were having fun throwing a snowball at each other, when suddenly, Liu San was getting confused, while staring at his younger brother, who's crying. Nevertheless, Liu San asks him why he was crying, but the kid didn't answer and just threw a snowball at him. Liu San was hit on the chest by the snowball, but unfortunately at the present time, Liu San was also hit on the chest by the flying sword of Fang Xing. According to Liu San, he had never been good at lying. However, Fang Xing was also hit by the flying sword of Liu San, but luckily, it was hit on the wine bag that Liu San gave him. While Liu San was lying down, Fang Xing was wondering if Liu San missed the shot. Meanwhile, Fang Xing went toward Liu San's body. Then he puts down the wine bag near to him. According to Fang Xing, it felt like Liu San deliberately missed the final shot, but he told himself that it must have been in his imagination. On the other hand, Hu King said that it looks like Liu San that trash has failed. Then Hu King pointed his sword to Qian Tong and he said sorry to him because he can't wait any longer. Instantaneously, Hu King was going to stab Qian Tong using his sword, but all of a sudden, he was startled because he didn't hit Qian Tong. Hu King glanced at his back, and suddenly, Fang Xing asked him if Hu King was finally attacking his own men. At the present time, Hu King said that as expected. Fang Xing didn't run away. Then Hu King asked Fang Xing if where is Liu San, but he also said that maybe Liu San must have been executed by Fang Xing. However, Fang Xing told him that he didn't want to execute Liu San, but he was too persistent. Then Hu King told him that he had guessed that Liu San knew Fang Xing's whereabouts, but Hu King didn't expect that Liu San would be stupid enough to find Fang Xing alone. In addition to Hu King, it's good that Liu San died since his overly soft nature is of no use to Hu King. However, Fang Xing told him that he thought Liu San was much better than some young master who can only attack his own people. So be it. It's useless to argue. The thing I can't figure out is, why do you dare to stand alone in front of me? Do you think you can defeat me? Hu King stated while pointing his sword to Fang Xing. However, Fang Xing asked him if he was sure that Fang Xing was alone. Hu King was surprised by what Fang Xing said. Then when he glanced at his back, he saw that Qian Tong was about to stab him. But Hu King managed to block Qian Tong's attack. Qian Tong was pulled back by Hu King's force, and he was disappointed since Hu King was able to block his attack. Nevertheless, Hu King was very angry at this moment, but he was suddenly shocked when he saw that Qian Tong's wounds had healed. Hu King was confused about how the wound on Qian Tong's leg healed so quickly. Then he asked Qian Tong if his spiritual Kai had been recovered already. Nonetheless, Fang Xing interrupted him and said that he guessed Zhao Zhai hasn't had time to tell Hu King all the information about his dagger. And according to Fang Xing, that dagger will indeed seal the Kai while penetrating the human body, thus making people lose their cultivation for a period of time. In addition to Fang Xing, that's why yesterday, Hu King and Liu San decided that Qian Tong, whose Kai had been sealed off at that time, would become crippled for at least half a month. But what Hu King didn't know is that the premise of sealing Kai with the dagger is that the body has to be in a bleeding state. Once the bleeding state is over, the sealed Kai will quickly recover. Hu King couldn't believe what was happening. However, Kai Tong also told him that in fact, after the wound on his neck stopped bleeding last night, his Kai gradually recovered. But at that time, he was tied up by Hu King and could not speak. At this moment, Hu King figured out that Fang Xing was just passing Kai Tong a dagger just at that moment. Oi Kai Tong, now that the most suitable bait has appeared on his own and your cultivation has been restored, why aren't you on my side? Hu King desperately stated. But at the back of Hu King's mind, Fang Xing's way of thinking is really frightening. Hu King cannot let Fang Xing go back to the sect, so he must get rid of Fang Xing there. Kai Tong suddenly yelled to Hu King and he told him to shut up. Then he angrily asked Hu King if he was able to relax, knowing that there are people alive who know that matter of Hu King executing his own men. Kai Tong bet that after Fang Xing is gone, Kai Tong will be the next one. Then Kai Tong asked him again if Hu King thought he had any other way to live besides working with Fang Xing to execute Hu King. Nevertheless, Hu King was speechless at this moment. Then he looked up and told Kai Tong that he was right. All of a sudden, Hu King prepared his weapon. Then he told Fang Xing that he admits that he regrets it now. Had he known Fang Xing was so difficult to deal with, Hu King would never have listened to Liu Feng's words and chosen Fang Xing as bait. But Hu King told him that it's too late to say anything now. Kai Tong was alerted when he saw that Hu King was using his power. Then he told Fang Xing to watch out for the King Feng sword in Hu King's hand because according to Kai Tong, it is a top-ranked spirit tool in the family, so they need to make a move now. With an instant, Fang Xing threw a weapon to Kai Tong for him to use, and Fang Xing's sword came out from his ring. Fang Xing is approaching to attack Hu King in the front, together with Kai Tong in the back. But suddenly, Fang Xing was startled by what he saw. While Hu King was surrounded by blue flames, Kai Tong's blood suddenly spilled on the ground, and he fell down. Fang Xing was speechless while looking at Kai Tong's dead body. However, Kai Tong's blood smeared into Hu King's sword. Meanwhile, Fang Xing was stunned while looking at Hu King, and according to him, he couldn't see Hu King's movements at all. Suddenly, the Yin-Yang Divine Demon Book speaks to Fang Xing's mind, and according to it, the King Feng sword is a mid-grade spirit tool that can make the wielder's body move like the wind, but it will harm the spiritual meridians and damage the cultivation. No wonder Hu King suddenly became so fast. However, Hu King didn't hesitate to damage his cultivation. All of a sudden, Hu King was approaching again to attack Fang Xing, and when Hu King tried to slash Fang Xing, a huge explosion occurred in that place. Fortunately, Fang Xing managed to run from the explosion, and according to Fang Xing, he was careless. He didn't expect Hu King to be so decisive, so it's better to slip away at that moment. But Fang Xing was surprised when Hu King appeared in his front. Instantaneously, Fang Xing uses the 9 Serpents Golden Flame. Then a flaming sword came out, approaching to hit Hu King. However, Hu King thinks that he seems to have seen that sword somewhere, so he asked Fang Xing where he got it. But Fang Xing told him that he was asking too many questions while throwing the 9 Serpents Golden Flame toward Hu King. Nevertheless, when the flaming sword of Fang Xing was about to hit Hu King suddenly extends his hand and uses his power to have a shield and block the attack of Fang Xing. But he was alerted when he saw Fang Xing ran away. With an instant, Hu King used his power to control the flaming sword of Fang Xing. Then he pointed it in the direction where Fang Xing was, and the 9 Serpents flaming sword approached to hit Fang Xing. Luckily, Fang Xing managed to dodge his own flaming sword, but still, it causes a small cut to his cheek. "Do you think you can run away?" Hu King stated. While Fang Xing was panting, he told himself that there was no other choice left. Then he suddenly pulled out his knife from his back, and he used it to cut his palm. Blood leaked to the ground from Fang Xing's hand. Hu King was shocked at this moment, and he asked Fang Xing what he was doing. However, Fang Xing told him that since he can't escape, then they will die together. Nonetheless, at the back of Hu King's mind, Fang Xing mixed a high concentration of spiritual Kai into his blood. Then he pointed his sword to Fang Xing and said, "Trying to lure the python toad here? Then you're just doing me a favor. I'll execute you first, and then execute the demonic beast." But Fang Xing just grinned at him, and he asked Hu King if he had caught a toad before. However, Hu King was just staring at him because in his mind, toads are very fast when they hunt their prey. All of a sudden, Hu King was distracted when there was a huge great shadow that was going to fall over them. Instantaneously, a huge explosion occurred. Hu King and Fang Xing were both thrown by the force of the explosion. The demonic beast suddenly appeared on the scene, a huge and powerful python toad that is surrounded by purple vapor. While Fang Xing was staring at the toad, the Yin-Yang Divine Demon Book suddenly spoke again into Fang Xing's mind, and according to it, The python toad is a 4th-rank demonic beast, mixed blood species of python and toad. It can spray poison mist and has python armor, and non-divine weapons cannot injure it. In the meantime, Fang Xing asked Hu King if he still wanted to execute Fang Xing first before executing the python toad. However, Hu King told him that Fang Xing is really good at that, even predicting the arrival of the python toad. But Hu King also asked Fang Xing if he had ever thought that he was the target of the beast. Then Hu King rode his flying sword while saying that it's a pity he won't be able to execute the python toad himself. But getting rid of the beast after it swallows Fang Xing is not bad either. Additionally, Hu King told Fang Xing that he was patient enough to wait. Then he uses his power to run away from them and said farewell to Fang Xing. But Fang Xing just smiled at him, and when Hu King glanced at his back, he saw that the python toad was going to catch him using its tongue. And when the python toad was about to catch him, Hu King hurriedly jumped from his flying sword. Fortunately, he managed to avoid the demon beast's tongue, but it suddenly came back to him like a missile, so he quickly reached for his sword. But unfortunately, he couldn't avoid the python toad's attack anymore, so he got hit and a huge explosion occurred that causes Hu King to be thrown away into the ground. Hu King had a hard time at this moment, and he is wondering, why did he become the target? All the blood is obviously from Fang Xing, and yet Fang Xing is still standing there. Hu King was confused about what exactly Fang Xing did. Nonetheless, according to Fang Xing, he was sure enough that he won the bet. Although the python toad is a 4th-rank demonic beast, it still retains the habits of the corresponding beast. When Fang Xing saw the eyes of this demonic beast, it felt very much like the eyes of a python. In addition, the python toad also has the blood of a python. Therefore, the python toad should have the same habits as the python. That is, they cannot see stationary objects, but targets moving objects. However, Hu King angrily shouted to the python toad and said, "Oi, beast, that bleeding bastard is right beside you. What's the use of chasing me?" Then Hu King commanded the demonic beast to quickly eat Fang Xing. But this python toad didn't listen to Hu King, and it attacks him once again. Hu King grits his teeth and angrily said that since the python toad was such a brainless beast, then Hu King will just cut this demonic beast down first. Nevertheless, Hu King was able to hit the head of the toad, and green blood suddenly splashes from the toad's wound that causes this python toad to howl very loudly. Even Fang Xing covered his ears because of the crazy loud cry of the python toad that, like it, has a force. However, Hu King's sword was covered with the green blood of the python toad, and according to Hu King, this beast is really hard to deal with alone, but fortunately, the King Feng sword can still damage it. But Hu King was afraid that the sword body won't be able to withstand corrosion. All of a sudden, Hu King glanced at Fang Xing and he was puzzled when Fang Xing covered his mouth and nose, and that's because this beast can release poison. Then Hu King suddenly covered his face too. Unexpectedly,